I see a few guys popping in. Hey guys. Hey, Jeff. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Okay, good deal. Tim Allen. Look at you. Famous people on here. What are we going to talk about, guys? This is Q&A, man. Fire away. Let's hear what you guys got. Well, don't be shy. I want everybody to jump in at one time. You guys have already exceeded my expectations. There's 9 people on here, and I hadn't been online for 2 minutes. Oh, I spoke too soon. Derek. Mr. Mopar, how's the weather over there? Dub to you, how's it going? You guys are, you guys awake over there? Yeah, Jeff, I got some heads for Bob. I actually, let's see, I'm on my 3rd set. I had some, I was going to keep this G14 classified, but it's not going to take long to figure it out. So I had some CFE Pro King heads that are supposed to be some of the best 10-degree inline valve heads that you can get. But I elected not to run them because they take some specialized parts, and if something ever happens to the heads, those parts will only work on those heads. So I went with something a little more mainstream because I had to change everything anyways. Pistons, cam, lifters, all that stuff. So I went to some Edelbrock Victor 2 Glidden series heads that are, 10 times better. Should be a considerable difference in how it runs. Derek, you talk about axle run out. So for those of you who haven't seen Derek's channel yet, Slower Than You, he's got a little Nissan truck, Liam Nissan to be exact. He's battling some vibration problems going into high gear, and we were just talking about it on Facebook Messenger. Dub to you, your woman's not helping you work on your Chevys? Isn't that supposed to be the other way? I thought the Fords were the ones that were always broken. Wrong room. Whoops. If you guys can hear it, my dogs are dancing around in the background in their kennel, making a bunch of noise and stuff. Timothy, man, I'll tell you what. I started out with carbureted small block Chevys for years and years and years, and that's all I knew. And when the laptop hooking up to a car started getting real popular, that was a little bit of a change of pace for me too. But once you understand a few basic principles, everything pretty much works the same. Jeff, you got that truck fixed up yet, or finished up, or whatever it was you were doing to it? Canada, Chris, man, that's a long ways away, dude. How's the weather up there? I think. Let me see something here. Live chat settings. Okay. Chris, what kind of hot rod are you working on up there? Keith, I don't, to be totally honest with you, I don't really have a solid reason why I don't have Learn turned on or why I don't use it. Um, I've never had that ability. So I guess more than anything, I haven't grown to trust it yet. Closed loop, or I'm sorry, yeah, closed loop is pretty stinking solid, man. I mean, I still have it set up the way it was, the way it comes by default, which is 50% um, enrichment and 50% lean out. And I've got the air fuel down, in single digits within a few passes, just doing some manual edits on the fuel table. So, uh, no particular reason really, Keith. I just haven't really grown to trust it yet. Um, I'll probably look a little more into it, when we get it running again this time. It's going to be a little more of a serious engine this time. Just to give you a little perspective, the camshaft in this thing is 870 something lift now, and it's probably going to be 10-to-1 compression. The heads flow something like 450 CFM at 850 lift or something. It's going to be pretty nasty now. Is it Danielle or Daniel? I don't know. How do you answer that on chat? Man, you're from Ontario. Well, I didn't know I had this many people up in Canada watching the channel. That's interesting. Chris, you got an S10 also. I just got rid of mine. I guess it's been a couple weeks ago. Joseph, Uncle Alpha Kenny Body, a shout out. Okay. So it's I think I'll follow you there, Daniel, if I said that right. It's really hard to figure some of that stuff out just reading it. Windsor, Ontario. I don't know. I'm not familiar with what part of Canada that's in. I have to look that up. Joseph, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Oh, okay, Daniel, I see. Can you say I like chanters in my jeer slow? It sounds like Scottish. Okay. Man, that's awesome. You guys are up in Canada. How's the hot rod world up there? I guess I don't have any feel for what it's like up there. Man, you guys are not going to believe the changes I got in mind for Bob. I got the I see what you're saying, Chris. I got the engine is going to be brand new. It's not going to change displacement. It's going 10 more over than it was. Say I like red scoot in my jeer. Sounds so cool in American. So Bob is going to get, of course, the new heads. Going to be the shaft rockers. Still going to have shaft rockers. Big giant cam in it. It's going to be 418 cubic inches now instead of 414. For those of you who hadn't figured it out, right? Oh wow! Good luck with the body shop, Daniel. The Bob has gone 480s in the eighth mile, and is the only good passes that it made in the quarter mile were on lower power, and it went 8.0s pretty easily. It coasted to a 760 at 161 miles an hour, and on that particular pass, it was out of the gas at 6.6 seconds out. I expect the new setup's gonna be a little bit faster than that. I kind of held on to that till the end of the season because around here the grudge classes and the no time classes are kind of weird. They won't let you run in some of the places, and I don't know. It's a really weird dynamic, kind of hard to understand. Can you say I like Red Scoot in my jeer? It means I like YouTube on my phone in Scottish. Did I say it right, Joseph? I'm not sure. Let's see, my phone's going off here. Oh, let's see. Go away there. Keith, you got you run on 93 pump gas. Was that you? We had a couple of chats back and forth about pump gas in the 85 and stuff. Yes, Matt and Andy, you have got it right. Yeah, Derek, I agree. Hiding times is, I don't know. I don't get it either. But some of those outlaw street classes that we run in around here, if you show your times, even in testing, they won't let you run. Those guys cry about it. So I guess the grudge race math. Um, if you're in front of somebody, I guess they assume that you're automatically faster or something. I don't know. I don't get it. And I'm sure if you figured it out already, Derek, that it don't matter if you run, 750s in the eighth mile. If you got a turbo car, it's an automatic, 4-second ride. It has no bearing. Keith, I think that was you. We had talked about that. I want bacon sandy in my jeer, whatever that is, Joseph. God. Derek, do you lean on the learn or the learn feature in your Dominator? You guys cut it out. Oh, that's awesome. Matt and Andy, I'm glad you guys like them. I haven't had mine out in a while, but I haven't really had a need for them yet. Jeff, what are you doing to that intake? Are you talking about nitrous nozzles and whatnot? I was going to do this live stream out in the garage, but it was a little cool out there. Timothy, are you familiar with the Red Line track out there? I heard they're reopening it. Derek, that's kind of the way I look at it as well. James Brown, the cage is all chromoly and it's all TIG welded. It is 25.5 spec. That, yes, sir. James Brown, that car is, I don't know how far I'm going to take that thing in reference to the cage because it's legal to 749 and I'm real close to that already. In fact, had I ran that last pass out all the way, it would probably have gone in the 40s pretty easily. I don't know. There's something about going 200 miles an hour in an 85 Mustang that just doesn't seem safe. Joseph McNulty, I think your keyboard is broke. It keeps saying the same thing over and over. James, thank you. I appreciate it, man. If you guys got any ideas that you want to see on future videos, be sure and let me know. As soon as I get done with this 2020 Mustang, hopefully in the next week or so, it'll be back on my car again. It's my car is going to get a really, really nice turbo kit this time around. If you guys saw that one video before I took the car apart, or when I took the car apart, it's getting a full tubular front end on it. It's still going to be all steel. It's going to have a fiberglass hood on it. It might have a fiberglass bumper on it, but I don't. It's not going to go much further than that. Not this time around, at least. Hold on. Hey, dogs, stop! I think my dogs are having a riot out there. If you guys have a specific topic that you want to see in a video in regards to fabrication or machine work or tuning or anything like that, by all means, bring it up. Let's talk about it. Maybe I can do something with it. Tuning is probably won't happen until I get the car running again. The fabrication and machine work and stuff like that, we do that all the time. My dogs were having a moment out there. For some reason, they periodically don't get along. Yeah, Jeff, it is staying single turbo. In fact, it's the same turbo that it had on it for now. It's going to stay on E85 as well. And I don't know if any of you guys seen it or not, but or remembered it, but it's got methanol injection with some 210-pound injectors that are in the intake tract. And since I've had the Holly Dominator on there, I haven't turned the methanol injection back on, but this time I will, or this time around I will. James, the weather is pretty mild right now. It's I don't know, probably 60 some odd degrees, right at 60 degrees out here. Let me see. I was just outside earlier and I didn't even look to see what it was. Oh Lord, it's dropping quick. It's at 48 degrees right now. We've had some cold days. We actually got some snow the other day and it was gone the same day, if that tells you anything. Derek, trying to remember the conversation, what we were talking about. Oh, that was no methanol. The numbers we talked about were no methanol. Derek, I think there was some kind of shift in when I first got the car running. Something happened, and I'm not quite exactly sure what it was, but that thing was seeing IATs in the low 100s. And the next time I brought the car out, it was instantly 160s. Now, it was a couple months after the fact, but it wasn't a 60-degree increase in ambient temperature. It was just a 60-degree increase in the air charge temperature. Not quite sure, if I had some kind of problem that I never found or what. Joseph, come on, man. This time, though, Derek, I am definitely putting the methanol injection back on it. And you're going to have to run a little bit of a different scenario because the charge pipe is only going to be a foot long. Yes, Derek, you got that right. There. Okay. Joseph is in timeout now. Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, the methanol injection is going to go back on there. What I started to say a minute ago is that the charge pipe is going to be a lot shorter now. The turbo is going to sit right in front of the motor, and the charge pipe goes straight up into the throttle body, and it's only going to be 18 inches long or so. Hold on, Keith, James, I'll get to that in just a second. So what I was getting at is that charge pipe being so short, and the bypass valve is right there in that charge pipe. So when the throttle closes, the methanol is going to try to go back out of the bypass valve, and we don't want that because it's a fire hazard. But I found some thread-in injector nozzles or injector adapters that I plan on putting in the intake tract somewhere. The only thing is I bought this really killer billet Holley intake elbow, and I don't want to put any holes or anything in it. So I got something to think about there. Keith, the AFR, it's just like, I mean, if you think about it like this, you're just adding fuel to it, and since I'm tuning on a gas scale, it just gets richer. The one thing is that to keep in mind is that the methanol injection is not included in closed loop, at least not the way I'm doing it. And what that means is the computer is going to try to trim the fuel only in the base fuel table, and the methanol injection is still going to pulse at whatever duty cycle I've told it to pulse at, and it's never going to change at that boost, at that throttle position, or that RPM and map setting. So that's never going to change. Pro Charger, James, maybe someday. I mean, I don't really have any plans to. I don't like belt maintenance or gear drive maintenance, and it's really hard on the front mains of the motor and so on and so forth. Scott, no, the front end is it's all custom made stuff, and it's going to be one off for this particular car. I'm sure you guys have probably seen in the videos, but my buddy Chris, it's always with me at the track, the big guy with the glasses. You always see him standing in front of the car. He does a lot of fab work on some race cars around here as well. And when the time comes, I'm just going to roll the car over to his place, and we're going to make that stuff over there. The header stuff, or the turbo stuff, the new stuff is going to be, it's going to be slick, man. I can't wait. That's going to completely transform how Bob looks under the hood. Not to mention the cylinder heads are twice as wide as they were. It's going to pick up some power. I think it's going to pick up probably 200 or 300 horsepower. We'll see. The big thing is the changes on the engine, man. That it's going to have it's not going to have O-rings in the deck anymore. It's going to have the fire hoops that go in the head. So when you cut the groove in the head and put the fire hoop in the head, the fire hoop sticks out, a lot more. Say, I don't know, 20 thousandths or something like that, and the O-rings only stick out like a few. Scott, the headers, I make all my stuff. I don't buy anything off the shelf. So there'll be stainless steel. Yes, Scott, you got it. Top Fuel hoops. You're exactly right. James, no problem, man. I certainly don't mind if you, like I said, if you guys got specific questions, by all means, ask them. I try to cover that stuff um, in videos. I don't know if what direction is best for the channel. As far as like instructional type stuff, or just showing y'all what I do and say don't do it. Or I screwed this up. I show the majority of what we do to the car on the channel, good, bad, or indifferent. James, the compression ratio right now, or on the, what I just took apart is, I think it's almost 11.5 to 1. The new setup, I'm actually going to drop it down a little bit, probably in the 10.5 to 1 range, something like that. Keith, it's the machine work is done by Morgan and Son Race Engines in Grand Prairie, Texas. They do all my machine work. I think I've said it in the videos a couple times, but I'm a machinist by trade, and I really trust their work, and I don't have a lot of I've never had to take it back and say something was wrong, or something like that. So James, I don't know that it's more boost or less boost, or anything like that. I'm trying to be a little easier on the head gaskets, because small block Fords are really bad about not keeping head gaskets in them. The head gaskets are, you can ask anybody with a small block Ford, the head gaskets, they tend to give up around 30 pounds of boost, and I can't go to the track and not turn it up. I'm probably the worst about that. Like, I'll make one easy pass, and then I'm going straight for the throat. We're going fast one way or the other. Reb Auto CNC conversion. I haven't done anything else with it since that last video. I can't remember. I think I covered the video on the Z-axis ball nut mount and all that stuff. It's all the machine work is done on it. As far as the ball screw and the nut and the servo mounts and stuff. The electronics are even pretty much done. They're proofed out. I need to align the lead screws, shim the mounts, and make sure everything is good, and then hopefully make some parts. I don't know. We'll see. James, man, I don't know. I don't mind the LS platform. I helped a couple of my buddies with some LS cars, and we went really fast with some SBE stuff. We had a 240 with IRS in it, Power Glide, and with stock axles and stuff in it. And this thing went 516, I think, at 134, 135 miles an hour. We went some races with it. So I mean, I'm a believer. But the problem is, well, it's not even a problem. I just had a lot of nice small block Ford stuff, and so I stuck with it. I'm not brand loyal to Ford or Chevrolet. I like them both. I grew up with Chevrolet stuff, carburetors, nitrous, the whole 9 yards. So I like them both. They both have their pros and cons. Chevrolet, the big thing that I like about them is they have 17 head bolts on each side. And for what we do, that's important. You get into big power, though, you start having problems with head gaskets in the middle cylinders on both sides because of the proximity of the exhaust port. What else, guys? Man, I got all night. I'm not going anywhere. I'm off tomorrow. I can be up late. It's a beautiful thing. Any of you guys do fab work? Do your welding? Do your own welding and stuff on your cars? Man, I'll tell you what, the off season is really hard to get engine work done right now. When you have some one off stuff like this, man, I have to get. I hear you there, R Dub. You same thing here. Um, so I have to order pistons, cam, rockers. What else? Pistons, cam. Oh, and the valves. All that stuff is on order right now, and it takes forever. So R Dub, it's funny because me and my buddy were talking about doing paint work earlier, and I think I'm going to attack some of that. When the weather gets really hot outside and we're not racing as much, I think I'm going to get into that. Reb Auto TIG welder, man. You know what? I teach a lot of people in person. The basics of TIG welding, and I'm not a pro by any means. I've just been doing it a long time, and there's a few things that really stick out. And one is, don't try to do your best work when you're hungry, as odd as it sounds, because your hands shake. Don't drink a lot of coffee. Don't drink a lot of sodas and stuff like that, because generally speaking, you're all over the place, and that will show up in your work, guaranteed. Jeff, you got to get Mark to install your activated switch. You can do that. That's easy. Dennis, I got rid of the S10 because it's been sitting for 2 years, man. And it was just, I had about $15,000 sitting there, and I just didn't have time to mess with it. And it's money that's better spent on Bob, and I'll get another one. In fact, I'm not actively looking, but if I run across, I want a regular cab 4-wheel drive S10 square body, and they're kind of hard to find. Scott, man, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. You get, I do all my own fab work, and I have for, 25 years, I guess, or something like that. Man, you get in there and just do it, and you practice, and you'll get good at it. Just like anything else. Power glide valve bodies. Who do you think has the quickest, and what would be a good light with a turbo car? There's a couple of things that really. Uh-oh, looks like we're losing connection. Can you guys still see me out there? There we go. We're back. Okay. Keith, so mine has an adjustable TCI valve body in it, and I've never messed with it. Not the adjustment part of it, but some things that really matter are the kind of button you use, as far as the reaction time goes. That makes a big difference. And if you look like on Summit site and all that, they have different kinds of buttons that move quicker or slower, and they're adjustable as well. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know that I have the patience or knowledge for body work either, but that hasn't really ever stopped me. Meaning that I'm a glutton for punishment, and I guess I like things to be really nice and in order. And Bob is far from nice, but it is in order. And I know that car inside and out, and it drives me crazy to walk up to it and see dents in it, and to see it dirty and all that kind of stuff. And Chris always gives me a hard time. Paint don't make it any faster. It doesn't. And if I get into the wall, it's not the end of the world, but it sure is nice to have a nice, clean, shiny car and all that. But we'll see. There's some races coming up that I would really like to make too. There's one in March Jeff, you probably know about this one. Big Jake's race. I think it's March, the third weekend in March. It's like $7,500 to win Outlaw Street. Man, I would like to be there for that because the car's going to run good now. What do you mean 817-0? What's fast? Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying now. Yeah, it is fast, and it's going to be faster. I don't know. I guess it's kind of cool to have an ugly car because I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and go, "Man, that thing runs good. It's ugly, but it runs good." I think the big plan right now for this season is we're going to strip some weight out of it. It's not really heavy now. It was 3,008 pounds with me in it, but I would like to see the 2,800-pound range. It has two transmission coolers on it that are in the back of the car, and it has stainless braided lines all the way to the back of the car. So we're going to take it down to one cooler. We're going to take the fan off of it. We're going to put it in the front of the car. So that loses some line. It loses the cooler. It loses the fan. We're going to take the crash bars out of the doors, the factory crash bars. Those are like 33 pounds a piece. And then, of course, the front end tubular work that we're doing to it's going to make a difference too. Keith, Outlaw Street down here is kind of different in every race that you go to. A lot of the time it's like sometimes there's a weight limit, sometimes there's a cruise, sometimes there's a turbo size limit, sometimes there's really no rules, and it's just the slower small tire cars in a class, and they call them street cars, and they're not. Bob, I do drive it on the street on occasion. It's tagged and inspected and insured, and it's registered as an antique, so I can drive it whenever. Jeff, that's a lot of nitrous. I figured there was probably quite a bit leaving there that day. Log manifold or mount the turbo and then run each side of the turbo. Some of you guys, some of the OGs will remember my maroon S10 a year and a half or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. I was going to run that test on there, and I never got around to doing it. I think that there's probably a point of diminishing returns where a log manifold just doesn't flow as good, and it also really depends on the design of the log manifold. I've seen some log manifolds where the pipes go straight into the header, and that has to be inefficient. And the log manifold that I made for the truck, the pipes entered the primaries entered the log manifold at 45 degrees. I think that if there was a best way, it's probably something along those lines. The straight entrance, the 90-degree or the perpendicular entrance on the log manifold, I'm not feeling that really. And it's really hard to say, man, without having some data, and it's not going to be the same for every car. Some cars are going to will really benefit from a regular header and, two crossover pipes, and some cars won't see any benefit. I would tend to think that the lower powered cars are probably not going to benefit as much from a change to regular headers from a log manifold. But that one could argue the point that goes out the window when you run, like on these LS cars, these guys are running stock manifolds and going, 7s and a quarter mile with them, so it kind of depends. I don't know. Short of doing a test on it, I don't think, every car is going to be different. I don't think you could probably prove it one way or the other. Let's see. Did I catch all the questions? I think we got them all. 817-0. What kind of hot rod are you working on there? I can't quite tell what that is in your avatar. Oh, R-Dub, I didn't see you said you were a machinist as well. Tool and die maker of 15 years. That's pretty cool. I never got into tool and die work, but I did. Oh man, she's for 12 years. 12 or 13 years. I ran a 1948 Lucas horizontal boring mill. And for those of you that don't know what that is, you ought to look it up. That is a giant vertical milling machine. So, like a regular machine, the spindle points down from the top. A regular milling machine, this one is horizontal, so the spindle points in from the side. And the table on that thing where you put your work at was big enough to park a full size car on it, easily a full size car. And man, I made parts on that thing that would blow your mind. But it was, I'm pretty sure it was a 48 model. Anyways, that's when machines were made out of real metal. This thing was a monster. And the place that I worked at had 8 of them or 10 of them, I think. Shane Paul. Shane Paul. I think I know who Shane is, or which Shane Paul. I think I know who you're talking about. I don't know his last name though. Is it Shane with the 93 Cobra? Toshiba, huh? That's 70s Toshiba boring mill. I have to look that up because I think one of the machines we had was like that as well. I'm gonna look on my other computer. Y'all keep talking here. Let's see. 75. Oh, Paul Sanders. Oh, Shane. Okay. Now I see what you're saying now. I know who you're talking about. My bad, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Man, I hadn't seen y'all out there in a while. Where you been? Man, I hadn't seen one of those BT10B is what it's called. Now I'm gonna look that up. BT10B. Man, that BT10B is real similar to what I ran. Real similar. Yeah, that looks a lot like it. The one I had was it had was a DRO on it as well. So I'm sure man, you get back to, you once you know your machine and you know where the slack is and how everything works, you make some really, really cool parts. I did oil field work. I made fluid ends for like frac pumps and stuff. They came in, I think they weighed like 4,500 pounds. And when we took them off the machine, they were, 3,200 pounds or something like that. Yeah, ours was just that machine just had a 4 or 5 inch spindle. Deshane, what Fox are y'all working on? Is it yours or is it your pop's car? Man, I think I'm going to. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. We're going to get the CNC machine running after this 2020 leaves. I'm going to do a little work on the CNC machine as well. I'm changing it over from Mach 3 controls. I'm changing it over to Centroid controls, so that thing will be a lot easier to use. I need to be able to make some parts for the car. I probably could go to Summit and buy some of the things that I want to make, but it's not, what's the fun in that? It's too easy. I miss being able to make oddball stuff. I guess I don't know. I guess I really like to overly complicate things on the car. Man, that screen is bright. Where's your pops been at, man? I hadn't seen him in forever. I think I've known your dad, Shane. I think I've known your dad since, oh man, mid 1980s, 1986, 87, something like that. Let's see here. Who's you guys that are online right now? Are you following on Instagram as well? Man, I got some RC cars as well too. Well, not some. I have one. Um, the real race car takes all my time, so getting into RC cars seriously is kind of hard to hard to do, I guess. Tell him I said he can still come out to the track, man. He's done racing. Man, he ain't done racing. Phil, I see you comment all the time, man. I appreciate it. I see who else was it? I see you on one of my other buddies' pages too. I can't remember who it is though, but I think we probably have a lot of common interests as well though. Dogs. Oh man. I'm gonna try to do this live stuff once a week. Probably Sunday night would be the easiest for me to do and the most consistent. I'm hadn't been real highly motivated to work on that 2020 a lot like I should be, man. But I need to get it done and get it out of here because the racing season will be up in full effect, and I'm just not going to be ready for it. But when it's time to work on your stuff, it's easier to do. You tend to be a little more motivated, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to work on your own stuff. Phil, that's definitely one of them. Ryan's page, just definitely one of them. Kind of sound like Rain Man. Definitely one of them. Definitely. Thanks, Reb. Otto, I appreciate it. So the new for I don't think we got all the way talking about it, but the turbo stuff on Bob is going to be the turbo is going to sit front and center, and it's going to sit sideways in the car still. Now with the tubular stuff, the tubular front end that we're putting on it, the radiator is going to sit at an angle like this. The turbo is going to sit right here, and the elbow or the outlet of the turbo is going to go right into the throttle body, and it's only going to be 18 inches long or so. So it's going to be really effective, I guess is what I'm getting at. And we had a little bit of weird weight bias that we had to kind of compensate for, and getting the turbo off the driver's side of the car and further over to the passenger side of the car is going to help that. We changed those numbers around in the suspension. We changed the instant center and the anti-squat numbers and the bias and all that stuff made a big difference. That was just like driving a different car. If you'd have closed your eyes, you'd swear it was a different car. Go and get that 60 foot down. Hopefully we can go some maybe some 1.0s, 109 this season. That would be nice. Guys, we have been on here for 50 minutes, and I'll run this out to about right at an hour, and then we'll split and we'll reconvene next Sunday night. Anybody else have any questions? I know there was, when I posted earlier in the week that we were going to do this live chat, I know some of you guys had some questions. Somebody was asking about data logs, and let me see if I can find it. I'm going to look right now. Let's see here. Where are we at? Let's see. Where is Ricky Bobby at? I figured he'd be here tonight. I see the people who are asking the questions are not here. Notch Fox, I figured you'd be out here. Where are you at, man? Are you out there? Tim Turner, are you out there? Let's see. Phil, man, I'll tell you what. It was a little bit of a curveball at first. But if you got the basic principles of electronic fuel injection down in the aftermarket world, it went good. I understand the EFI pretty well, and the Holley has so many things you can do with it. It's unbelievable. They and I'm sure I don't have experience with Motec and Fuel Tech and those things like that, but I'm sure they do the same thing to some extent. But the learn feature in Holley is just incredible. I've heard people say that you can put zeros in the fuel cells, and if you have enough correction enabled, and you make a pass, and when the engine runs over that zero, it will actually put enough fuel in the engine to bring the air fuel ratio in spec and not hurt the engine. I'm not brave enough to try that, but I would believe it, because mine, when I started out, mine was seeing 30 some odd percent correction, and it didn't hurt a thing. It corrects so fast that you can't hear it in the car. You can't feel it. In some cases, you're going to see a blip in the air fuel ratio, but it was great. You go in there and clean up those places so it doesn't keep doing that, and before you know it, you're at single digit correction and a perfect tune-up, more or less. I'll tell you what, that makes me think about the tables and stuff that are in there. So they have advanced 2D and 3D tables that you can use. Man, I mean, the sky's the limit. If you can think of it, you can probably do it with a Holley. Case in point is the bump box. I don't know if you guys had noticed, or with the Mega Squirt in the car and with the Holley stuff in the car, the Mega Squirt, the car bumped in, and it was violent. It made big bumps, and I had to ride the brakes pretty hard, to make it tolerable. And when I went to the Holley stuff, I actually, by way of Devin Vanderhoof's video here on YouTube, created a PWM output, a pulse width modulated output. So what it does is it more or less pulses the relay, which is what happens with any bump box, actually. But on Holley, it has a table, And as the engine traverses through this table, and the RPM's down here and the RPM's going up, as the engine goes through this table, it can increase or decrease the duty cycle based on what you've told it. And it makes the car bump in just like a roll, just a slow roll, or, little bitty bumps. It just depends on how you have the duty cycle set. And if you watch the last couple of videos with Bob, when the camera's behind the car, the telltale is the reverse lights blinking. If you watch the reverse lights, you can see the blinking. They're LED lights in the reverse. Ha, Tim, I was just talking about you. You missed it. They're LED lights in reverse, so they blink really, really fast, faster than an incandescent bulb can. And it kind of tells you what that thing is doing. And that actually is a good learning tool. Tim, I was just going back through my posts and trying to find out who I was missing, people asking questions and stuff. And I knew there was a couple of people in here that didn't, that weren't here yet, actually. Muhammad, I think you were one of them, actually, now that we're thinking about it. Oh, you're the one of the ones that said something about the intake manifold. Okay. 1.5.2 on Megasquirt. No, I didn't address it. I'm trying to remember what 1.5.2 is. Refresh my memory. Do you have a specific question about it? My old laptop is not in here, and it's the one that's got the Megasquirt stuff on it. Phil, man, I'll tell you what. Holly really, really, really simplifies the fuel injection thing for us new guys. I'll tell you what. As far as fueling is concerned, as long as you don't have something crazy numbers in your air fuel ratio table, and you do have enough correction enabled, you can't hurt the motor really in closed loop unless you have some crazy spark tables or something way wrong that you've entered, because the computer won't let you hurt it really. Oh, dome control. Okay. Muhammad, I think I thought it was 1.5.6 unless it's different for a gold box. Are you using closed loop dome control? I can tell you a couple of things to look at is you have to be absolutely certain that your dome pressure sensor is calibrated correctly. That's number one. Number two, you have to run it in test mode and watch the gauge without the car running, and watch the gauge and make sure that thing shows the correct pressure. And it's in kPa. I hate that. The dome sensor, though, that's key. If you don't get the dome sensor right, nothing's going to work right. kPa, you have to remember also, God, it's been so long since I've messed with it now. Let me look real quick. I'm going to give you some numbers here. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, and Mohammed. So the first thing to remember is atmosphere. So every 100 kPa is 1 bar is 14.7 pound. Closed loop dome control. And this does not apply to anything else. Dome control is the only time that you do not skip the first atmosphere, the first 100 kPa, the first 14.7, or however you choose to look at it. So if your dome control says 100 kPa, you are putting 1 kPa on top of the dome. So don't forget that, because in your map, it's going to look different. 100 kPa doesn't mean 14.7 pounds of boost. It means like, 3 or 4 pounds of boost. So though you have to remember to keep those two things separate if you did not know that. But I can't stress the calibration of that sensor being right. That's important. You'll potentially hurt your motor thinking that you're putting less boost in than you are, and it can go the other way. But when does that ever happen? You never have errors in your favor on that kind of stuff. No, 100 is not spring pressure. 0 is spring pressure. 100 kPa is 14.7 pounds plus the spring. Muhammad, if you hit me up in an email, is DIYGRGTX. I think I can probably send you a log if I can. My old laptop will boot up. This thing is that thing is kind of in sad shape, but I can verify and get you some even better numbers because I'm kind of going off of memory right now. But you got to test that boost control and make sure that you get it right, because that will be the one thing that you'll fight the most. We had some good luck with it, there after I figured it out. I think you were here earlier when we were talking about the 240. We had that same dome control there and had good luck with it. So, I mean, it works. It works and it's accurate. Good solenoids too. Not much of a fan of the Mac valves, but if the Holly solenoids are on your budget, I would recommend getting the Holly solenoids, the little small bullet style solenoids. They work great. All right, guys, we are approaching the 1 hour mark. I think I'm going to hang it up for this week, but I'm going to try to do this on Sunday nights, probably around the same time, 7:30, 8 o'clock. We'll just kind of play it by ear. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. And my catchphrase is, as usual, I do appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Oh, I see you there, Tim. I'll hang out for a minute here. Tim, man, it's probably going to be on into April before I get the car ready to go. I was talking about it earlier. All the parts are on order and everything is 4 and 5 and 6 weeks out. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.